to Reading on the Rock.
Hello and welcome to Reading on the Rock here at Covenant United Methodist Church. I'm Reverend Ann Kemper, and tonight we begin a new series of children's books about music. Music is beautiful, fun, a diverse way to express our feelings, including feelings of praise and thanks to God. Tonight's story takes a closer look at the piano.
Good evening, everyone, especially my little friends. This evening, I want to read to you a book about someone that I really enjoy listening to. The name of the story is The Green Piano, How Little Me Found Music, and it's all about Roberta Flack. I have many of her albums. I just love her. This was written with Roberta Flack and Tanya Bolden. It's illustrated by Hayden Goodman, and it is a Random House Children's published book. So this evening, I hope you enjoy it. 5-time Grammy winner Roberta Flack, The Green Piano, How Little Me Found Music. Little me, in my Blue Ridge mountain town of Asheville, North Carolina, living on a street named Velvet, then on one named Circle, I didn't have fancy fine clothes, high-priced toys, or other richy rich things. But I had music, my treasure, my gold. Daddy, his name was Laron, at one time a waiter, at one time a cook, and later a builder, had taught himself to play piano, harmonica too. Mother, her name was Irene, a maid for a time, had taken some music lessons as a child, and now played the organ so nicely at our church, piano too. At age 3, maybe 4, there was me at the keys of that church piano. I'd use my elbows on the ebonies because my fingers were too short. Mother and Daddy were so tickled by that and so proud of me. It said ebonies. Ebonies were the black keys of the piano. I imagine an entire congregation listening to me play hymns like Precious Lord, Take My Hand, and even songs I heard on the radio like A Tisket, a Tasket. Look at this piano. It's called a baby grand. And I dreamed of having my very own piano. Dreamed of my own piano when I tapped out tunes on tabletops, windowsills. Dreamed of that piano when my slight voice, I sailed into sing-alongs with my big sister Nancy, with my little sister Lorene. Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star was a favorite. Older me, age 6, started taking piano lessons from a mighty fine lady with a noble-sounding name, Mrs. Hightower. And when Mrs. Hightower heard that we were moving, you must make sure Roberta continues her piano lessons when you get up there. Up there was Virginia, in a place called Green Valley, in a home where Mother, Daddy, neighbors, friends made music together, offering up soul-soothing harmonica tunes, playing the spoons, singing love right into our living room, with me still dreaming of my very own piano. Then one day, not many miles away in Washington, D.C., Daddy spied something in a junkyard. He was passing by, something that brought a glistening to his eyes, something he just knew would make 9-year-old me burst into 1,000 smiles. Can you see anything in this illustration that would bring thousands of smiles to her face? Yes, if you guessed the piano, a small upright piano. Old, ratty, beat up, weather-worn, faded thing. It's ivory. Ivory's terribly stained. Ivories were the white keys. And it stank. But Daddy, he saw treasure, saw gold. Can I have it? He eagerly asked Mr. Junkyard Man. Come and get it, the man replied with a shrug. Lickety-split, Daddy'd hustle up, help to haul that piano home. See, got his friends in a green truck. When I first saw my piano, I saw a miracle. Look at the expression on her face. Daddy put his all into fixing up that old, ratty, beat-up, weather-worn, faded, stained, stinky thing. When can I play it? That was me as he cleaned it, with Mother lending a helping hand. When can I play it? That was me as he tuned it. When can I play it? That was me as Daddy painted that piano in a grassy green. I couldn't wait for the paint to dry. And then, gently, I touched the keys. My green piano, already a part of me, notes flowing through my fingers, to my body, to my soul. I practiced for hours and hours, teaching myself to play songs from the radio like Let It Snow, Let It Snow, Let It Snow. Teaching myself to play songs from church like Amazing Grace. Taking piano lessons again from Alma Blackman, a top teacher in D.C. Soon my fingers, longer, stronger, graceful, were gliding into songs like Beethoven's Moonlight Sonata, like Handel's Messiah. Soon, when I sang along to songs, my voice was no longer slight, but stronger, richer, smoother. And soon, I had an even bigger dream. Can you guess what that dream is? Of a life all wrapped up in the majesty, the magic of music. My treasure, my gold. Grown-up me lived this dream. Yeah, year after year after year. Along the way, I never forgot the joy, the miracle, the wonder, the blessing of my green piano. Wasn't that a wonderful story about Roberta Flack and the dream that she had? This was a story written about her. Now, I would like to share with you some of the thoughts that Roberta Flack herself wants to share with you. Would you take a few more minutes and listen to this? When I was growing up in Green Valley in the 1940s, I never dreamed of becoming a singer. As I played my green piano, studied with the amazing Alma Blackman, and accompanied the choir at my family's church, I dreamed of performing on grand stages, playing the works of Beethoven and other composers of classical music. I dreamed of becoming a concert pianist, That was my dream at Hoffman Boston High School, where my senior class voted me the most musical. That was my dream when I entered Howard University at the age of 15 on a full music scholarship. That was still my dream when I graduated in 1958 with a bachelor's degree in music education. But life had other plans for me. 4 years later, in 1962, I was teaching music at a junior high school in Washington, D.C. Thanks to Miss Alma, I also landed a part-time job playing the piano at Tivoli Opera Restaurant in Georgetown. I loved being around those opera singers, so much so that I began taking voice lessons with the legendary Frederick Wilkie Wilkerson. But one day, Wilkie told me, "Your voice is better for pop music than for opera." I was crushed. I walked away from Wilkie, walked away from the song. Then, after some reflection, I thought, maybe he's right. Back to Wilkie I went, and I learned to sing popular songs of the time. I found my voice. One night at Tivoli, after all the guests had gone, Henry Yaffe, the owner, overheard me singing a mellow song to the opera singers. "You can sing that stuff at intermissions," he said, and so I did. Before long, I was singing on Sunday afternoons in Henry's ground floor club, Mr. Henry's on Capitol Hill. I saw that people were moved by my singing, and I wanted to do more. After Henry agreed to let me perform 3 nights a week, I resigned from teaching to devote all my energy to music. Devote myself to practicing. Devote myself to giving every performance my all, connecting with the audience through songs about sorrows, joy, and love. From the blues and rock to folk, soul, and jazz, I sang it all. My audience grew so large that Henry created Roberta's Room upstairs in his club. There I sang and played the piano, backed by a bass player, a drummer, and eventually a guitarist. 5 nights a week, 3 shows a night. It was exhausting, but exhilarating at the same time. The great jazz pianist and singer Les McCann came to see me in a benefit concert I gave for a local child care center and worked overtime to get me an audition with Atlantic Records. That led to my first album, First Take, released in 1969, which included The First Time Ever I Saw Your Face. The song became a hit. Over the years, I was blessed to sing more songs that became hits and won awards. I performed all over the country and all over the world. I also gave back. In 2006, I established the Roberta Flack School of Music at the Hyde Leadership Charter School in the Bronx, in New York City, offering free music education to elementary and middle schoolers. A few years later came the Roberta Flack Foundation, devoted to, among other things, helping children, especially girls of color, with their music education. Through this amazing journey of mine, that once little me, who so cherished her green piano, was always by my side. I decided to tell the story about my green piano because I want all the young people who have ever felt marginalized, overwhelmed, bullied, or discriminated against to know that they can make their dreams come true. Find your own green piano and practice relentlessly until you find your voice and a way to put that beautiful music into the world. She was and still is a remarkable person, thinking and sharing with others. I hope you enjoy the story that's all about Roberta Flack, called The Green Piano.
Well, we just heard a story about Roberta and the green piano and what a piano meant to her. And today we have a special bonus. We're going to look at a piano ourselves, and to help us do that is our musical director, Kevin Lieb.
Well, hello.
Thank you very much for being with us tonight.
Thank you. Thank you for the invitation.
So what is this?
So a piano can have a lot of different shapes and sizes, but it's basically a wooden box that, if you take a look inside here, holds a harp. And a harp is an instrument that has a lot of metal wires or strings that you might have heard before that you can pluck. In a piano, instead, it's inside, and it's instead of being plucked, there are little hammers. Again, if you look in here, you might be able to see that there are hammers that come up and strike underneath the strings to get a very different sound than the plucking. And those hammers, the way that we get those to play is on a piano keyboard. These black and white keys, each one swings a different hammer that hits the strings to make a sound. And so we have very small strings inside here for the very high sounds, very high pitched sounds. We have much longer strings if you want to have low sounds. So that's the basics of a piano.
And there are a lot of keys and a lot of strings.
Yes, 88 keys.
Oh my.
88 keys on a piano, and many more strings than that. Some of the keys have 3 strings, some only have 1.
Oh, really? And that has to do probably with the science of how sound is made?
The very small strings, they have more strings just because it's such a small, faint sound that gives some reinforcement. The large strings, if you see, they're actually thicker too. They wind wire around wire because otherwise, that makes it a thicker and heavier thing for a deeper sound. Otherwise, the wire would have to go several feet beyond where the piano currently sits. So different sizes of wires for lower and higher sounds.
So we have an instrument in an instrument.
Yes.
And there are a lot of keys, so you had to learn which keys to play to make the music sound good. How did you learn to do that?
I started when I was 5. I was a very shy child and had a lot of nervous energy. And in the book, Roberta Flack talks about drumming her fingers on a lot of things, and that was me too. And so my parents found me a piano teacher. Her name was Mrs. Lazurick, that was able to show me where usually one of the first things you learn is middle C. You learn one note on the piano, and then you gradually work your way out in both directions, up and down the piano. And usually for a very small hand, you might just play these 5 keys. And something like, I think Roberta Flack talked about, Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star, will fit in one hand. And so, yeah, my teacher would teach me how to play a simple melody. And then later, one of the things about the piano is you can play more than one note at the same time. So then you learn how to coordinate your fingers to play multiple notes at the same time.
And I bet you had to practice a lot.
I did practice a lot. I still practice.
You
yeah,
do?
that is one thing about a musical instrument, is that it does require a lot of time and practice. And for me, that was wonderful because it was time away from all the noise and distractions that were around me, that I could just, when I got home from school, the first thing I would do would be go to the piano and just play.
Wow.
And I could say it was play most of the time instead of just practice, because it brought so much joy. It was a relief.
And what would you say to children who might be watching who are interested in the piano or music lessons or learning to play?
Yeah, if you would like to learn the piano, you would have to have access, whether it's in your home or at a school or at a church, to an instrument, whether it's a piano like we see here, or an electric keyboard that sometimes doesn't have as many keys, but still has a keyboard to it so you could make sound. And then you would want to find someone who could be a mentor or a teacher. And your parents would be a good help for finding someone there are so many pianists in this world that it's not hard to find somebody who would be wonderful to teach.
Oh, well, terrific. And just one more thing. In the story, Roberta, and Roberta Flack became a very famous recording artist, and music was her whole career. And she talks about music when she was a child being her joy. And I just wonder if you could talk about that a little bit. You said music brings you joy.
Oh,
What
yes.
what does it mean to you to be able to play music?
For me, well, when I'm happy, then it can be just ecstatic to make a world of sound. It's a reflection of creation that in the Bible stories of creation, music is another form of creation, and it's kind of like a prayer. If I'm sad, music brings me comfort, and the sounds can help to soothe my soul. The other thing about music, and in my life, is that it's community. That I can make music just by myself at the piano, but it's so much more meaningful to make with other people and share that gift.
Oh. Well, and we certainly appreciate the gifts that you share here at Covenant, and also bringing anyone who's interested in music into the community of music here. So we thank you very much. Thank you for tonight. And anybody watching, if you have special feelings about music that you'd like to tell us about, please leave us a note in the comments. We'd love to hear about that. And thank you again.
Thank you.
Thank you, Kevin, and thank you, Val, for reading. A wonderful story and interesting information about my favorite instrument. Would you please pray with me? Thank you, God, for giving us the gift of music as a way to show our feelings and to praise and thank you. Amen. And from all of us here at Covenant United Methodist Church, good night.
Reading on the Rock is presented by Covenant United Methodist Church in Rochester, New York.